Hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Pelican Marsh Meet the Candidate Forum. My name is Dino Lauricella. I will be the moderator for this event. We have 3 candidates today in alphabetical order. We have Denise Cluthy, Joe Mulcahy, and Terry O'Hara. The format for this candidates meeting is as follows. I'll give each candidate up to 2 minutes for an opening statement, and we will go in alphabetical order, and then I'll explain a little bit more as we go on. I will then present questions submitted by the members of the association for each candidate to answer. Questions were sorted with similar questions combined and then categorized to make this forum more structured and informative. Candidates will have 1 minute to answer the question. If a candidate refers to another candidate by name in their answer, that referred candidate will have 30 seconds to respond. Questions will be rotated where each candidate will have the opportunity to be first. After all of the submitted questions have been asked and answered, the floor will be opened up for additional questions if time is permitting. I remind the audience not to duplicate questions, so listen up as the questions are asked and the answers are answered. Timekeeper will be Paul. The bell will ring when candidates have 15 seconds left in their answering response time. When the candidate's time is up, the bell will ring 2 times. You understand? Thank you. I ask the audience to please refrain from talking while the candidates are speaking, and I think I've already asked if you can please silence your phones, so this way we aren't interrupted. Okay, with that said, we're going to start the timer, and we're going to start with Denise Cluthy with her first opening statement.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Denise Cluthy, and I've been a resident of Pelican Marsh for 16 years. I spent my professional career in the accounting and finance area, working for Alcoa, the aluminum company, which at the time was a Fortune 500 company. I retired as assistant controller responsible for global financial shared services. I also served as CFO of the Primary Metals business unit and had various other leadership positions, including a 4-year assignment in Brazil. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting from Penn State, an MBA from Duquesne University, and I also hold a bachelor's and a master's in theology. I've been active in the community in the past. I served on the board of governors at the golf club, served as treasurer. I also ran the Women's Golf Association for a year, and I was chair of the golf committee. And I was also treasurer of the HOA at Portofino when I was a resident at Portofino. I'm currently serving on the finance committee here at the board, and I had in the past been very, very active in the community, but when my husband got sick, I had to take a kind of a leave of absence and take a back seat to my volunteering and serving. And now that he's passed, I have the time and the energy and the interest in serving the community, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Joe?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joe Mulcahy. I grew up in the Chicagoland area and raised my 3 daughters in Naperville, Illinois, before moving to Pelican Marsh. Midwest values, responsibility, transparency, and following through on commitments have always guided me. Professionally, I spent 30 years in global leadership roles with Deloitte as a global partner, where I led a worldwide practice, and later as a senior vice president at Thomson Reuters. My work focused on strategic planning, financial discipline, and building strong, accountable organizations. But what shaped me most wasn't my career. After I retired, my wife was diagnosed with ALS. I stepped away to care for her full-time until she passed away in 2020. That experience changed me. It deepened my appreciation for resilience, perspective, and importance of community. During that time, Pelican Marsh became more than a place to live. It became a home. Many of you know Diana Villardo. You see us around the tennis courts and at events and around campus. We feel incredibly fortunate to share our lives here and be a part of this community together. Serving first as vice president and now president of the foundation has been a privilege. Over the past several years, we have strengthened our financial position and reserves, improved transparency and communication, enhanced amenities and campus appearance, secured the agreement that gives us the flexibility to thoroughly explore a community center expansion. That agreement removed a long-standing constraint and positioned us for responsible long-term planning that protects both property values and quality of life. So you may want to ask, so why am I running again? Because I want to finish what we started. We've done hard planning work, we've laid the foundation and groundwork, and we've created the opportunity for meaningful resident improvements. I care deeply about the community, and I respectfully ask your support so we can continue building together.
Thank you. Terry.
I'm Terry O'Hara, and I'm excited to be a candidate for our foundation board. I believe my 40-plus years as a commercial real estate broker and developer will bring important expertise to the board. I bring a unique perspective. I like to think outside the box. I believe the board needs to be mindful that we have a fiduciary responsibility to all residents in Pelican Marsh. In Jim Helmer's 2024 study, Jim indicated that approximately 65% of the residents in Pelican Marsh do not utilize our courts. The decisions we make on the board impact the real estate values within Pelican Marsh. And we need to think what kind of brand we want to be in comparison with other gated communities that we are competing with for buyers. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And where can we improve? Our strengths include our beautiful tree-lined streets, our community center, our 26 individual communities, our location, courtside, our wonderful staff employees, and maybe our most important asset, you, our residents. Our weakness, we are land constrained. I think we should revisit a nature trail boardwalk in one of our preserve areas. I would like to revisit the possibility of gate access to Mercado along Oak Moss Road. I support the proposed plans for an expansion of the fitness center. In summary, I would like to thank you, the residents, for the opportunity to present my qualifications as a candidate today. Inclusiveness should be our goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we've gone through our open statements. We're going to move on to the questions. And again, you will have 2 minutes to read, or I'm sorry, 1 minute to answer the question. And when the first bell rings, it will be your 15-second timer, so you know the second bell is that's over. Okay, our first question from the community at large that was sent in. Can you hear me correct? Everything good? There's a discussion of adding an expanded area to the community center for spinning classes. How do you justify that addition when few people spin and much larger numbers of members use the now crowded facility for table games like mahjong, bridge, cribbage, etc.? The first person to answer this question, Denise, please.
Oh, I'm going first?
Yeah, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm fine. I thought I was gonna
Left to
go.
right. Left to right.
Right. I think the board sent out a survey that asked for input from the residents about what were priorities. And one of those items was to look at increasing the fitness center and making homes here for the spin room, making homes for card players. And I think the board did a good job in asking the question and then following up on the suggestions. And one of those was, of course, expanding the community center. And I think it's needed. I'm not sure that we would, just look at the spin room. It's just one part of the bigger plan to expand the community center. And I think whoever asked that question is only looking at one tiny little part of a rather large expansion that's going to give a home to lots of different activities. That's it.
Thank you. You need me to repeat the question? Joe's next.
No. Many of you may not know, when we built the restaurant years ago, we lost the spin room, and the spin bikes had to be moved outside. I can tell you that from what I've seen and what I've understand through talking to the fitness committee, is that we have, although we're going to be expanding the facility, the classes that we do have in the spin class are full. And just like all the activities, the cards, the mahjong, the pickleball, the tennis, everything in the community, all those things are continuing to grow. And so, I failed to mention bocce as well. All of our programs are increasing, and as a overall plan, it's not just to focus on the spin or pickleball or tennis, but be able to provide things for everybody in the community. And I think as part of the plan, we're going to be able to solve that for everybody's needs.
Thank you. Terry,
Can you repeat it?
Yes, I was going to. There's a discussion of adding an expanded area to the community center for spinning classes. How do you justify that addition when few people spin and much larger number of members use the now crowded facilities for table games like mahjong, bridge, cribbage, etc.?
Well, I'm not sure if this is for the proposed expansion, but if it is for the expansion, it's a flexible room and can be repurposed. Right now, the spin classes being outside, are okay, but I'm not really sure. Are we talking about the existing facility or the proposed expansion?
There's a discussion of adding and expanding.
In the existing facility
No, actual building.
as part of the proposed?
Correct.
Okay, well, I like the plan. I approve of it. I guess the thing to keep in mind is in a spin class, you don't have any bolt-on costs, meaning permanent fixtures in there. The room could be repurposed down the road. You just have the bikes in there, and it can be transitioned to another use if the spin class is underutilized. So I support it.
Thank you. We will now start the rotation of people who are going to answer first. So next question will go to Joe. To all of you, but Joe will begin. Many believe the gym is adequately sized based on gym usage and entry card data, that an addition is not needed. Do you think adding space for other diversity-related activities that members are involved in would be more beneficial?
I don't know where the information is with respect to the fitness spot being utilized, but I can tell you, when we go in there during season, people tripping over themselves, and this was like the number one thing that came out of the survey was the fitness center. Not to say that the fitness center is the only thing that we're looking at with respect to the expansion. We're looking at all the things, as I mentioned in the last commentary. I agree, the mahjong and the cards and canasta and all of the games and so forth we need an expansion. I don't think it looks good when we walk into the community center and we've got the entryway full of a bunch of cards and, you know, tables. We need that additional space. But I think our overall plan is going to be able to address all of those needs.
Thank you. Terry,
Yes, can you repeat the question again?
many believe the gym is adequately sized. Based on gym usage and entry card data, that addition is not needed. Do you think added space for other diversity-related activities that members are involved in would be more beneficial?
Well, I think they're both important. In competing with other communities, though, I think a fitness center expansion is critical. And I like what we have proposed. You know, it's part of our branding as a community and competition. The other activities are obviously important. I'd have to look at this a little bit closer to see, you know, what rooms they have for them. So I do support the fitness center expansion.
Thank you. Denise?
I
like me to read
agree.
First, it's Terry.
No, it's the same
I
question.
haven't done this question yet. No, I agree with my colleagues here that the fitness center does need to be expanded. I've talked to quite a few people and they say, you know, with caregivers in there and walkers and the PT going on, that there really does need to be an expanded fitness center. And, you know, I think it's at one time, that's all people are talking about is that it's an expanded gym, but I think the plan is for an expanded community center where we have homes for the card players, a designated room. We have a designated room for the spinners. We have, and then of course, like Terry said, the flexibility of those rooms to be used for whatever. But I do believe we need an expansion that encompasses all of the residents' needs, including the gym.
Thank you. Okay, the next question that was submitted, this will start now. Terry, you will be able to have the opportunity to go first. Do you feel there should be more pickleball courts replacing tennis courts, or is the current number of pickleball courts sufficient after the last investment?
I don't think we can make a decision unless we do a capacity utilization study, similar what to Jim Helmer did in 2024. Our brand is we are a court sports community. We're not a bundled golf course community. We need state-of-the-art tennis courts and pickleball courts. And you know, once we finish this expansion, we have to look at the parking that we have. I would love more pickleball courts. I really would. But, you know, at this point in time, I'd like to see more data.
Thank you. Denise?
Okay, I understand the dynamics between tennis and pickleball and all of that, but I think as leaders, we need to find common ground. As an accountant, my path of being an accountant, I would make all my decisions based on data. So I would have to look at the usage of the courts compared to other usages. I would have to look at market trends. I'd have to look at the demand. And at the end of the day, make decisions based on data, but making sure that everybody felt that their voices or their opinions mattered and that people were being treated fairly. Because in the past, we've had this tennis versus pickleball thing, and it division, in my opinion, division weakens the community. Whereas if we collaborate and find common ground, it'll strengthen us as a community. And I think that's what we're all about.
Thank you. Okay, now going back to the beginning, Denise, you'll be first on this one.
Would you want me to answer?
I'm sorry.
I thought you
Check out
were
the
Joe.
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 Well, without belaboring what everybody else said, I think it's too early to tell. I can, if you've come to the board meetings, I think everybody's seen that during busy season, we have both activities in really all around the campus, pickleball, tennis, the facilities, really everything. I can tell you there was a lot of complaining. A couple of years ago, I think we did a great job with the space that we had, the limited space that we had in adding 50% more pickleball courts, but I think it's just too early to tell. It'll be interesting to see. There's more sports coming up, the padel, and there's another court sports activity that we hear about in the future. So, and I think that our development is going to continue to turn over. People are going to be aging out, younger people are going to be coming in, and pickleball's a sport that is easy to attract, a lot of different people, from young people to, people our age. So, I think it's really too early to tell, but it seems like people are relatively happy with what we've been able to accomplish so far.
Thank you. Okay. Denise, we're going to begin with you. Our next question. What are some examples of how you think the 26 neighborhoods could leverage one another more for learning and opportunities, etc.?
Well, I think the presidents already get together and do some benchmarking with each other and trade ideas. I'm not sure how open everybody would be to it, but I think when we had this community center here, it's incumbent on the board and the staff here to come up with ways to get neighbors and neighborhoods to connect socially here at the community center. So that's probably what I would suggest.
Thank you. Joe?
I've had conversations with Sandy Mintz, who's the presidents of the 26 communities. And it's really a loosely affiliated sort of group that, they reach out, they have telephone numbers, they can send out an email and say, what contractors are you using to do your landscaping, or what contractors are you using to, do certain improvements within the HOA. But I think it would probably be difficult to get each of the individual associations and force them into collaborating, communicating. But from my understanding, that's already going on. And if issues come up, they only have their own sets of rules and responsibilities and how they want to run the communities, but they also share and communicate and collaborate to help each other out within Pelican Marsh.
Thank you. Terry?
I also believe that, one aspect is being community center centric. It's, this is the focal point of our community. The presidents, well, you have 26 presidents. They're all individuals and they're all different. I don't know what the dynamics are among those 26 presidents, but as far as the community at large, you could have a sports league, rivalries between the different communities, from canasta to tennis to pickleball or anything else. But talking to our president, Ariel, I think he's pretty comfortable with the dynamics that go on among them and the communication they share. A big one, like insurance, we all run insurance. So, hopefully they, I don't know how often they meet, but I think they're doing okay.
Thank you. Okay. We'll begin this round with Joe as first person. What do you see as the greatest challenge for the Pelican Marsh over the next 2 years, and what is your leading approach for resolving it?
I think I think we've sort of identified the biggest challenge, and that is our space constraints. And the fact that we very deliberately and from a coordination and collaboration perspective, reached out to the community and identified the things that we need to do to improve the overall experience in the community. In terms of, how are we going to pay for those things? There's always a question of we've talked, I think a lot of us have talked here about the expansion of the community center. And we can get into the nitty-gritty of that. And if you've come to some of the board meetings, we've actually saved $400,000 a year on the cable, and taken 75% of that and dedicated that for expansion and for the expansion project. So if people are thinking we've got this big expansion project, it could potentially be, $2.5 million-$3 million, and how are we going to pay for it? We've already thought through that, and we have a way to handle those finances over the next several years.
Thank you. Terry?
Well, our biggest challenge is being land constrained and, maximizing utilization of the space we have. We face the challenges with parking as well, if we want to do any kind of expansion. Although my understanding is with the fitness center expansion, we do not need to add any other parking. I thought our comment was just a one-time 400,000, but I must be mistaken. And so it's the land constraint. It's the perception out there for possible buyers coming into our community. And, the answer is to utilize what we have, especially in the community center area, maximize their utilization.
Thank you. Denise?
Okay. I think our biggest challenge is, of course, responding to the residents' needs. Everybody is concerned about their property values. We want to make sure Pelican Marsh is competitive in the real estate market, because that's very important to each and every one of us. And that goes with expanding this facility, keeping it refreshed, budgeting well so that we keep our costs where they are affordable for everyone, and just making it a welcoming place to live. And I think, at our ages, this community is what we need, with all the social activities and all the court sports and other activities. And we just have to keep our brand positive, that we are that kind of a community, and that we're welcoming, and we have lots of ways for our residents to interact with each other.
Thank you. Okay. Now we're going to start over, and we're going to Terry now. The following question that was submitted is very lengthy, so please feel free to ask me to respond. As your turn comes up, I'd be more than happy to reread this. Okay, Terry. Apparently, the foundation was contractually obligated to pay a significant fee to Courtside this year, as an annual revenue target was missed by just a few $1,000s, and the foundation was notified with very little time to consider having a party to reach the revenue target rather than pay the much larger penalty that did not benefit the membership. Would you work with Courtside to require notification of revenue levels for at least 2 months before the penalty is triggered, so that Courtside and the membership could benefit? Terry?
Yes, I would. 2 months notification. I'm assuming that means they still have 2 more months to forecast where their growth be. My understanding was Courtside growth was 37% 2024 over 2025. And they hit a $1,020,000 or $1,020,000, and we had to give them $50,000, I think. Joe can clarify that. And then over 1.1 million, we get into revenue sharing with Courtside. But as far as notification, the best they can do, restaurant, it's a tough business. It's a real tough business, and I consider ourselves blessed that we have courtside. Thank you.
Because you mentioned, Joe, you'd like to a 30-second.
Yeah, it's 1.2 million is where the break-even point is, and over the last couple of years, we've been seeing the trend around $1 million. The answer to the question is, and I guess it'll come back to me, we really need to be closer monitoring that as the last several days, and it's really difficult to get, pinpoint where we're actually going to end up at the end of the year. But I don't know that we necessarily need 2 months. I think we really need to be focused on that the last couple of weeks, because we know where we are from a week-to-week perspective, but it's hard to find out what you're going to do in the last couple of days of the year.
Denise, would you like me to repeat that, or do you have an idea?
No, I think I know the
Thank you.
question. I think the board, and I know the finance committee, we look at this every month. And we see where the revenues are, and we are monitoring it. And there are probably some ideas. I guess a resident thinks we could have a party and get the revenue up so that there's not a subsidy to courtside. But I know we talk about it in the finance committee, and I'm sure that, the board looks at it, and there's a collaborative relationship between courtside and the board. And all ideas are good to make sure we don't have to pay the subsidy and we can get into the revenue sharing at some point. But I think they're on an upward trend right now and things are going well.
Yeah, just to add to that, we were losing $50,000 a month before we got rid of Crave and hired this new organization. And I think we've got a better experience overall. If we write a check at the end of the year for $75,000, it wasn't 50,000, I think it was 75,000. You divide that by, roughly 2,000 residents. I look at this as kind of a membership to a club that we all enjoy here. But I think over the next year, the sales will continue to go up and that subsidy will go away.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm going to assume that time that you just took. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. This question then would be to Denise. What would others say is your greatest strength?
Okay. I think my greatest strength is I'm a team player. I've always been someone in my leadership positions who tried to get consensus. I'm a consensus builder, a team player. I have always listened to a lot of other people's inputs and then use that data to make my decision. I'm not a big ego person that has to have all the credit. I make decisions based on data, and I like to think my leadership position is making sure all the stakeholders feel like they have been represented and that I've taken everybody's opinion into account in making decisions.
Joe, that same question?
I don't want to steal your teamwork. That probably would have been my answer, but just I think collaboration with the team. People have probably seen my leadership skills as being president for if you attended the meetings. I'm not a person that it's my way or the highway. I've worked for people like that in the past and been on boards like that in the past, and it's not how I want to run an organization. I like to engage everybody, and you've probably seen our board and how we communicate and coordinate over the last year with the coming on of the new board members, is that I want everybody to have an opportunity to speak, and everybody's opinion is valuable. So I think that's probably one of my strengths, is that I don't like to make decisions on my own. I like to have other people be involved in that because I think collectively we can make better decisions.
Thank you. Terry?
I'm a people person. I work on being non-judgmental. try to keep an open mind. I think strategically. I think two or three steps ahead and in situations, in my business world and in relationships. I think I'm compassionate. I work on improving myself every day. I realize as human beings, we are all imperfect and always will, but I do try to focus on improving myself, especially mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Um, I am team-centric, collaboration, and I'm service-centric. I'm a disability activist. I served on 2 boards for Autism and Down. I did the Chicago Triathlon 8 years in a row to raise funds for them and was involved with them for many, many years. I also served on the board of a real estate trade association, broker association in Chicago. So those are, I think, my positive traits.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Next question, we'll start with Joe. How do you anticipate making a true difference on the board, and why do you say that?
I guess I'm already doing that. I think the last 3 years, I've sort of let my results speak for themselves. I think we've brought peace in the community, which is one of the things that I was really striving for when I joined the board. Is one of the things I said my first year on the board is we need more collaboration, communication, and coordination as a board, and the leadership of the board will then transcend into the rest of the community. So I think I've already proven myself with respect to the last couple of years, and I continue not to change. Want to continue to move things forward as we have.
Thank you, Terry.
My goal is to represent all of the interests in Pelican Marsh, not just special interest groups. Our fiduciary responsibility is to all 1,940 plus doors. The goal would be to continue to improve the real estate values within Pelican Marsh. I referenced in my opening statement some of my goals, the Nature Center. What were they? But the Nature Center, a gate at Mercado, supporting the plans for the fitness center. So the Nature Trail Boardwalk, and those are some of the strategic goals that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Denise?
I would use my financial and leadership positions that I've had to hopefully strengthen the board's vision and its future. And I think having served on the finance committee, I know the challenges and the opportunities and the responsibilities that the board has, especially as it relates to the upcoming expansion. And my goal is to try to help the board be transparent in all of its decision-making and ensure that we are working for the whole community.
Thank you. That will conclude the questions submitted. And before we open it up to the floor, I'll ask you again to please keep in mind if these questions were asked before you phrase yours, to keep that in mind so we keep this on track. And as a community, I think that we have to thank all 3 candidates for stepping up and wanting to serve our community. Okay, do we have any questions from the floor? Please step up to the mic so that the people online can hear you. They need to identify themselves. If you could please identify yourself also.
Hi, Chris Corris, Ariel. Given the scope of the project expansion that's coming forward, this question is to all of you. How important do you think it's that all of you are here full-time during that project to oversee what's going on?
Okay, what we'll do is we'll start in order with Denise, please.
Okay, well, I am a full-time resident. But given technology that we have now with Zoom and the ability to work from anywhere, I think as long as we have the right contractors and we have Paul, who does a great job overseeing things, I don't think that you have to be a full-time resident. I would, from my perspective, I am a full-time resident, so that would help me be here and keep an oversight on things, but technology allows us to work from wherever, and I think it would be incumbent on us to make sure that we had the right people doing the work, that we could trust them and we didn't have to be on them 24/7.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Joe?
I think it's going to be critically important to be a full-time resident over the next several years while we have this going on. I was down here this summer. I've been here full-time, but I had my shoulder done, and so I was out from playing tennis, and it gave me an opportunity to spend weekly meetings with Paul and with Johan on the facilities and the upkeep and some of the issues that the residents were bringing to our attention. I think with this project, and in fact, we had a subcommittee meeting this week, and it's very difficult, even though we do have the technology, it's very difficult to be able to see the drawings and communicate and coordinate on a daily basis. I think it's going to be required. The people that are involved in the project, and I think the board's going to be very involved. So I think it's important.
Thank you. Terry?
Can you repeat the question?
Given the scope of the project for the expansion, how important do you think it is that the board members be present during the
Okay.
during the project?
I am a seasonal resident. I'm here about 6 months of the year. And so I'll be down here for 6 months during that period. Technology, I think Zoom technology is a game changer, and that I would be able to be involved. My background is development, construction. I understand plans. I can read plans. If I had a set of civil engineering contract building plans at home that I could review when the conversation is going, I really don't think I'd have a problem with it. With technology, not just Zoom, but they have cameras on construction sites now, and it's 24/7. You can record it. You can watch remotely the actual work going on, and I'd recommend that technology.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Yes, Rich. You please identify yourself into the mic.
Sure. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Rich Benson. I live in Portofino. Denise was our treasurer. Good job. I have a question for Terry, based on, I guess, your platform. One of the things you talked about was adding an entrance to Mercado based on oak moss, I think. And I'm just curious, I'm not sure that is something that the whole community would support, but I'd be curious about how your thought process was that makes sense for the community, because I can see that would have a impact on the parking for people who live on oak moss. And it just seems to me that kind of thinking could be detrimental. So I'm curious on your thoughts.
There would be no parking. There might be a bike rack, but that would be about it. It was looked at, and the reason I brought it up, because the long-range planning, it was one of the top requests within the community at large. And I did speak to Bob Gianetti about it this week, and we looked at it. Could we accomplish it? I don't know, but it was mentioned as a very desirable amenity by the community at large. And again, no parking, really a walking path.
Okay.
Since that was presented to Terry, if either one of the other candidates, beginning with Denise, if you'd like to comment, you may, or you could defer if you'd like to make a comment, or if you both want to pass.
I don't have any.
I would only comment that it was brought up. The long-term planning committee looked at it. And because of the things that you mentioned, it became pretty problematic. We actually had a bit of a discussion with Mercado. We think they're probably going to build a hotel on the pad there. They wanted us to give them sort of exclusive rights and everything else, and that kind of shot the thing down. So, and then if you look at where it is, for a lot of the community, and this is my opinion, this is the feedback that we got for a lot of the community. It just didn't seem practical.
Mhm.
You'd have to, walk 2 miles and go there. So it became something we put on the parking lot, and it became less of a priority.
Yeah, I mean, just to say, I think it's great how the board and everybody is getting ideas from the community and soliciting what really counts, and that's really going to help get what we want. At the same time, not every idea is a good idea, so it needs to be really thought through, and I think you've done that, so I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. I want to thank everyone for attending, all those that have submitted questions. Again, thank you to the candidates. And don't forget, everybody, if you've not signed up for the electronic voting, please do so and vote when it's time to vote. Thank you.
Vote off.